Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to Crypto and Coffee. My name is Pam Peebles, and I am one of your co hosts for this is going to be fun today, y'all. We've been talking about this for a couple weeks, and it finally happened. So, we're going to have a good time talking about this foolishness that's going on. But good morning. I have my beautiful sisters and co hosts with me today, Marilyn Turner and Francis Rodriguez. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
So, y'all know we about to get ready to jump into this because this is a hot ass mess. I can't say it in any nice way. This is just a hot mess. I've been reading the articles all morning over what these banks are suddenly doing it. According to them, they're doing it for the people. But we know better. But I found one article on Yahoo Finance where NCR Bank, which is one of the biggest banks out here, decided that they wanted to capitalize on the demand it's been seeing from banks and credit unions. And it was tired of seeing crypto purchases made from their account to outside exchanges. Ding, ding, ding. that's really what's going on. But initially they said, we want to serve our customer better. But somebody actually came to the table and said they were tired of seeing the money go out of the bank. And here's the thing, it's not coming back in because it's no profit in having your money sitting in a bank. So suddenly now over 650, they are in the middle of negotiating it. And truthfully, it's probably already been negotiated, but they say 650 banks will soon be offering for you to buy and trade crypto, specifically Bitcoin. But Francis, I know that you're chopping at the bits on this one because this is just beyond shady. It's just beyond shady. I mean, you want to think that there's good in people, and I try to, but when it comes to banks, I just think this has a lot to do with a whole lot of things, but not helping the customers. So good morning. Francis, our resident retired banker.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me? I'm on a different device, so I want to make sure you can hear me.
We can.
Okay, awesome. So good morning. Listen, this is such a sorry, Pam, I think I accidentally muted you. But this is such a hit home topic for me because I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly from financial institutions, right? Banks. And can I just say one thing? It is always for their profit. I want y'all to understand that. Whatever they're doing is for their profit. No, it's not to help us little people that are moving a couple of $1,000s in the crypto market. It is for them because they're missing billions of dollars that are moving through the crypto market, okay? So let's establish that piece because it's really not about, us. But here's the thing, we gotta remember, right? For all the money that we're moving out of financial institutions, they're losing power. And so, hello, as a business, I'm gonna get in where I fit in because I'm losing money. Because for every $1 of mine that they were able to leverage, if all the money that I have in crypto right now, and I don't need to share profits with you guys or anything like that, but just know that let me do this. I'll let you take over for a second. I'm gonna get on audio from a different so that I won't echo. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, let me give you my 2 cents. And I am not a retired banker. I am a retired mortgage broker, though. I was in the industry for 17 years. And I'm going to tell you, anytime the bank step forward with a new plan or a new program and start talking about they are here to help the people, it's a lie. Do not expect for the banks to come in and help you unless they're helping themselves. And I think what's happening here, I don't blame them. I mean, they're losing a whole lot of money, y'all. They're losing a whole lot of money because I can tell you, I've transferred a substantial amount out of my savings account that will never, ever, ever go back into that bank. And so you think about it, when you talk about, Francis mentioned last week that for every dollar $9 is used in the bank for borrowing power. So I want you to think about that for a second. If you transfer out $10,000 into cryptocurrency, that means that the bank just lost access to loaning out $90,000, right? So what if collectively it's, they say they're going to be able to offer it to 24 million customers. I wonder why that 24 million customers, what if collectively we're all transferring out $10,000? What is that going to do to the banks? It's going to make the banks collapse because they don't have the resources. They don't have the funds. We've been on this show many a times talking about how you can't even go into a bank these days and ask for $10,000 because they're just not liquid. They don't have it. So Marilyn, I know that you have, but for shits and giggles, are you proud of your local bank for coming to the table? Aren't you happy they thought of you?
No, I mean, you and Francis pretty much set it off. I feel it's a way to get their grimy hands on some of this profit, and they're missing out. So, I mean, that's basically it. I felt like this is going to be a really short conversation because it's one of those like I told you so type scenarios, right? Where all this centralized, I don't want to get confused, decentralized, centralized, where you have control over our money. Now we have control over our money and we need to figure out a way to get that money back in here so we can control it.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what's happening. I mean, let's just be real about some things. I mean, if you look at all of the different banks that are participating in it, it's from some of the big banks to some of the smaller neighborhood banks that you're seeing. And the neighborhood banks, especially if it's anything other than the credit unions, even though I think the credit unions are going to start seeing some pain from this also. But the banks are suffering. I can't even tell you the last time I have been to the bank. And that's just real talk. I mean, we do have money that gets deposited in there, some residual income that goes in there every single month that has been going in there for, tens of years. It's not maybe a dozen years. But anyway, for a long time. And so we don't touch it. But we do pull the money out. And aside from paying monthly bills that we have to pay right now, that's the only reason I use my bank account. I don't use it for anything else. I use my American Express for everything, to pay for every little thing so I can get the miles. But I'm just not feeling my bank anymore. And I'm going to add that I bank with PNC, but I think I bank with all of the banks. And I remember going to PNC recently, maybe about 6 months ago, and I needed to get a document notarized, and they're supposed to offer you that service for free, especially for some clients. But we have a business account there. We have we have a couple business accounts there, and we have multiple checking accounts. And I remember just the lady being all nasty about wanting to notarize my document, and I was so frustrated with it. And I said, I need to change banks. But then I thought about it and said, who am I going to change to? Because I don't like any of them. None of them are offering anything I want at this point. They are just a place for me to pay my local bills until we're in a position where we can use cryptocurrency to pay everything. And that will happen. I'm calling it. It's going to happen. It's not a case of will it happen. It's going to happen. And it's going to be sooner than later. You're going to start seeing a lot of these different currencies that maybe don't hold as much value to people, or even, the USD coin is going to become one that we pay bills with. So Francis, hopefully you are back. We can't hear you. Nope. Okay, so Francis is not back. Just dive in when you get audio together. But so me and Marilyn, we're just gonna keep running our mouths while Francis works on her audio. But listen, as far as the banks, it's really like the lesser of all evils. It's the lesser of all evils because we are literally trying to figure out, or not figure out, because we already know what's happening, but we are in the process of making this transition over to digital currency. This is one of the reasons why, honestly, I was looking for a company that provided access and resources to training and information, because I moved back to the United States in November of 2020, so just last year. And when I moved back, one of the first things I realized was that cryptocurrency has taken over. I've been out the States for a few years and didn't realize how much of an impact it was having here in the States. And as soon as I got back, I said, I have to learn as much as I can about cryptocurrency, because, you know, you don't have to be the smartest person to realize when you see something everywhere that is prevalent and that you need to be involved in it. So that's what I did. Once I came back and was looking for a way to learn, I found, like a lot of you guys who are probably watching us, found sources on YouTube, very unreliable sources, that was just giving me information. And quite honestly, I said, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person that, as I'm telling people about it because I'm excited, I can't share with them because I can't fully educate them. And that's how I came upon this academy that we are all part of. And it has been life-changing. I always say I came for the education. What I got was the community. So if you are watching us on our YouTube channel, Crypto Coaching for Beginners, or you're in our Facebook group, or you just found us because someone invited you, get back in touch with the person who brought you here. Tell them you want to learn more information about our academy and how you can get access to wealth training, because that's all this is, folks. This is it, be it crypto, forex, real estate, all of it is how you build wealth. And this is the information, quite honestly, that most folks try and keep from you. It's more valuable to keep you ignorant, to keep you broke and poor. I'm just going to tell you. And I've been there. I don't have a college degree, but I was smart enough to get out of that rat race and to get away from the people who only wanted to educate me enough to use me for my skill set, but not educate me enough for me to build wealth. So, Francis, are you back? No.
Okay, hold on.
There you go.
There she is.
There you go.
Yay.
He's like,
Okay, we're gonna try it without this. Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Listen, you know what that is? That is whatever evil spirit does not want y'all to hear this sauce that I'm about to give you. Okay?
That's the bank. The banks are somewhere going, oh no, she's not about to bad mouth.
He's a traitor. I'm
Honest
really a
her.
traitor now, though, but I'm really a traitor, you know? So, you guys, listen, like, I don't even know what side of the camera I'm looking on because I even had to change the direction of this device. So let's go with this. But okay, I want you guys to, if you've never went to look this up, you need to go look up fractional reserve banking. That's what a lot of this stuff comes down to. They are losing power because, like Pam said, for every portion that you deposit, they're able to lend more. Why? Because that's how they keep more money circulating through the economy that they don't really have. Does that make sense? Like, they're lending out money that really doesn't belong to them. It belongs to us. But because they could do things like, hey, you know, the Reg CC, regulation CC says that, you know, because this deposit is larger than your normal amount, we can hold this money. No, it's not because you think it's suspicious. It's because this amount you need to take, turn around and lend it to a couple people. And then come those 7 business days when you give me my money back, you've already went and leveraged all this money in the markets, lent some out and made some more on top of that. So we got to understand that, like anything else, it's a system. But now let's talk about the banks and how shady they really are, because y'all, the truth is Goldman Sachs has been offering Bitcoin to their private wealth clients since last month. Like, this is not something, oh, we're thinking about doing. No, you can fool CNBC with that. But if you also go look at an article from May from CNBC, you'll see that they were already offering Bitcoin to their private wealth clients, meaning they have $1 million or more in liquid assets, right? That's private wealth. So when we look at that, okay, listen, banks are not going to be offering their private wealth clients Bitcoin if Bitcoin was about to crash, period. But now you want to know what that does? Why? Which is why this article came about of 600 and something banks wanting and needing really to do the same thing, because it's peer pressure. Think about this. Do you not think that because Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley is the one that was offering I stand corrected, Morgan Stanley. So do you not think if Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs, 2 of the largest, are offering their clients digital assets, right? What does that mean for people like JP Morgan, Bank of America? They have to get on board because it's peer pressure. That's just like anything else. with other countries, especially Latin American countries, adopting Bitcoin as their dominant currency, that puts peer pressure on the United States. We have to get on board. And so this is why I tell people, like, cryptocurrency may not be something you want to learn, but it is time sensitive and you're going to have to learn it. Here's the other reason why banks are getting involved, aside from the fact that they're losing a whole lot of money. How do they recoup some of that money? Oh, I know how. We're going to figure out a way to incorporate more fees than the network fee. Honestly, I don't really know how that's going to work out, but you guys, like, we function in a world that is set up with systems. They'll figure out a way. And this is why this is time sensitive, because as of right now, you don't need 8 weeks of approval from the SEC to purchase any digital assets. You don't need any of that. These large corporations, they do need approval. So when we say, like, this may not be something you want to learn, but you're going to have to. Going to school through the 12th grade, learning from teachers that I was probably smarter than in some of those grades, was not something that I wanted to do, but I had to get this high school diploma. So crypto, digital currencies is the space that you're gonna have to learn, because it is already the way of our banking system. But see, the problem is we want to stay in this space of ignorance that they've kept us in and say, oh, well, that really doesn't apply to me. It doesn't apply to you in the moment, because one, you don't understand it, but because two, you're probably not a private wealth client yet, right? So it doesn't technically affect you right now. But when you go back to January and you see, hold on, the US government already issued me a digital currency wallet address, they're not going to issue you that for no reason. So it's either you treat it as time sensitive as it is, or you're going to find yourself at the beginning of next year wondering, how do I navigate this world? And you're going to feel even more intimidated, because the banks, once they really get involved, more than they already are, y'all, because they lying to us. Like, you can find articles about who they're already issuing and offering crypto to. Like, this is not, it's not a secret. You just got to go look for the information. It's time sensitive. Like, I don't even know what else to say.
I want to add this real quick, because I'm reading an article, and I want to read this to you guys. It says the reason the banks are doing this, okay, their reasons that they're now doing this suddenly, is there is a demand for more crypto. In December 2020, y'all, we are in January of we're in July of 2021. I just want to point this out. This was 6 months ago, okay? In December of 2020, they did a survey that found that nearly 2/3 of cryptocurrency holders would be willing to go through their bank as a means of investing in the industry. However, at the time, only 2% of the banks shared that enthusiasm. Banks like JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley have recently made positive statements about the crypto industry. However, they hadn't invested into now. Y'all, we're talking about 6 months later. Okay, this happened in December of 2020, and no banks want to touch it. It's not a good investment. Don't touch it. It's witchcraft. Leave it alone. It's a voodoo. Somebody is over here conjuring spells. It's not real money. Now, 6 months later, because we ain't even 7 months, because we just in the beginning of July. Now, 6 months later, all these banks are on board. Why, y'all? Why? You have to ask yourself the question all the time whenever I'm looking, because, you know, I'm a little analytical in a different way. I look at money trails, I look at history, and things like this make me go, oh, so in other words, y'all thought this craze was going to go away. You thought cryptocurrency wasn't going to be existing anymore in 6 months. You thought none of this stuff was still going to be around. And so you said, oh, we not going to F with it. We just going to let them lose their money. And then they'll come back to us because we're the safe, secure source. And we've been that for 200+ years. Well, that didn't turn out so well for them. So now 6 months later, they all on board with this strategy of not just selling Bitcoin, but trading Bitcoin. You know why? Because for any of you guys who trade, there are fees. Every time you take a trade, there's a fee. Every time you take a trade, there's a fee. But when you take your money out of the bank, there's no fee. They can't transact you for fees anymore. They give away checking for free because they know they're useless. So interesting that in 6 months, the banks came to this conclusion that, you know what? we change our position on that. We were kidding. We was joking, y'all. Crypto's not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing if you don't purchase it through us. If you purchase it through another exchange, be careful. And I promise you, that's going to be the next marketing that you're going to see coming out through the banks. They're going to be like, listen, you need a secure place. You can trust us. We've had your money and wasted it and blew it all these years, but now you can trust us to buy your cryptocurrency. Francis, is there a chance that we're right on this one, or are we in the wrong direction?
No. And the craziest thing to me is like, when you start to understand like and start to study cryptocurrency and understand that it's based off of cryptography, right? A unique set of private keys, if you will, that can't be really tampered with, right? It's a series of letters and numbers that can't be duplicated. You would think that banks would treat it more as a friend than an enemy, because you need that type of security in the banking world. And the craziest thing is this company called Wolf and Company. They issued an article. They're a Boston-based asset management company. They issued an article about the fact that banks do need to stop treating crypto like it's the enemy, because really it's going to innovate a lot of the banking world. So think about this. These interest-bearing, I say that very lightly, checking and savings accounts, money markets that they're offering, if banks would treat crypto as the positive change that it can be for them, do you not think it would be easier for them to offer better interest on their accounts? Like, that's the bigger picture. But in order to do that, you've got to own some to be able to offer people something like that. So listen, I don't know why they're so, I mean, I know why they're so against it. We're just talking about centralized versus decentralized, control versus not much control. But the truth is this, I mean, it innovates the way you pay things. Like, back to something you said, Pam, you can already pay stuff. Like for the event that we're going to in Dallas in August, there's another event coming up. You can pay for your tickets in cryptocurrency. So the fact that merchants are already processing payments in digital assets, whether it's Ethereum. See, the thing is, Bitcoin is the only crypto coded as an actual currency. However, a lot of cryptocurrencies are coded to be used as a form of payment. So when we think about that, you guys, I just say pay attention to what's happening in the world, because if all these banks are like, the security concern that they said they had at first, it's not really that, because cryptocurrency is more secure than these American lending laws and any other laws that are in place to secure financial institutions. Like, I understand it, but I don't understand it. So you just got to pay attention to what's happening, because it's already here. And if you can accept the fact, like, look, I don't really understand a lot of this, like it's going in one ear and out the other. Well, I need you to get around it more often so that it could go in one ear and then slowly start getting stuck, because it's the way we're already doing everything. So I don't know. I'm just like, I go through a list of all the things of why they said. And like you said, 6 months ago, these were the same banks saying like, oh no, this is fool money. Like they taught me. Craziest thing in the world. If I would have known about crypto 7 years ago, I would not be on this call. I would be probably texting you guys from somebody's island, because so interesting enough, let me tell y'all, this is the bad thing about lack of education. My aunt, who just wants free information all the time, which there's nothing wrong with giving people free value, but at the same time, there's no way that I could like reproduce everything that I've learned over 6 to 7 months about crypto. It's impossible to give that to somebody in a 30-minute conversation. But her friend owns 34 Bitcoins, like whole Bitcoins. And his question to me was, I took a $77,000 loss when the market shot down from 60 something to 30 something, right? But in my head, I'm like, this is why you need education. If you knew how to properly protect, you got to be out your mind to think I'm gonna let my 34 Bitcoins go in vain. Absolutely not. I would have swapped that sucker out, waited for my next move, and I would have bought more than 34 when it dropped back down. But the craziest thing is not even that. The craziest part is we're so programmed to look at loss that you still don't understand the fact that you own more Bitcoin than some companies. And I'm like, I'm not a financial advisor, but don't you dare sell that. Here's a link. You need to enroll in this academy and get educated now. Because y'all, what I really wanted to say, I ain't going to say on here because this is YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Marilyn's watching me, so I'm not going to say it. But what I really want to say is you out your rabbit.
Listen, I've already put those safety nets in place. So if you want to say it, go ahead and say yes.
I'm just like,
you know what? It's for me, it's confirmation, and I say that all the time. It's confirmation, but to see that so many banks are getting on board, it's sad to see that that's the only way other people are going to see that what's going on with crypto is actually something that's going to be legitimate. But at the same time, it's kind of going to be, you know, almost too late because you're letting them figure out how to take control of your wallet before you do. By the time you are comfortable enough to start trading crypto, the banks have already have their hooks in that money and found a way to make their money off of it before you do. So the time is now. More and more banks getting involved. That means you need to get involved and you need to figure it out while they're figuring it out before they do.
Yeah.
Well, and the craziest thing is if you go look at like trending topics in like banking, this is the thing. It's a control thing because you got to remember our Federal Reserve is a bunch of European families.
Yep.
That's really why we're having a hard time with this conversation. Not because we can't adopt what we need to adopt. No, it's because European families run this country. Anyway, I rest my case about that. But if you look at what's trending with JP Morgan, they have taken on two of the biggest customers in the world of crypto, Coinbase and Gemini. So if you pay attention to what's really happening, you guys, like they're already on board. They just haven't said out loud, we're fully on board. They have Coinbase as a customer at JP Morgan. Do you not think that means they're involved? I don't even know what else to say, y'all. The proof is literally in writing. You could go to Wolf and Co, just co.com and go read some of this. Like, it's already here. They just don't want to issue an article that says JP Morgan is now fully partnered with the world of crypto. They just don't want to say that, but they really already have. If you're not partnered in the world of crypto, you wouldn't have Coinbase as one of your primary customers. You know how much money Coinbase has? Listen.
I think what it is that most people, they're so used to, not most people, the wealthy, the elite. they're so used to us just being ignorant. You know?
Yes.
That's really what it is. So they expect the ignorance to continue, but it hasn't. And so there are so many signs showing that, you know what, y'all really, for these companies, especially companies that need employees to make things happen, y'all are gonna really have to change the game now because employees are rebelling. They're like, listen, you ain't paying me enough to deal with your foolishness. I was in a grocery store yesterday and I was over by the pharmacy picking up some meds and I saw they had a flyer where they were offering to send anybody who wanted to go work to the beach area, which is maybe, I don't know, about 4 hours away from here, but offering them to live in a house that was rent-free for the whole summer. And basically they were going to pay you the same little crappy rate of $12 an hour, but you didn't have to worry about food or any of that stuff. And the reason why is because they can't get anybody to work for $12. So they figure we'll entice it and say, you don't have to live rent, you can live rent free. And folks are like, nah, I'm good. You know,
yep.
I am really good because this is a time where I hate saying the word I swear, but I swear. If you are not involved in cryptocurrency right now, I don't mean to call you dumb, but yeah, you are.
You gotta be smarter.
You gotta make better decisions because I legit, I was on watching videos with my husband. Like my husband was asleep, he wasn't feeling well, so I was just up watching videos on YouTube, every YouTube, not YouTube's, but anyway, every video that I watched on like Cardano and on like this and that, it was like, oh yeah, here's a 5-year plan to make $1 million. Here's a 5-year plan to make $1 million. Here's a 3-year plan to make $1 million off of all of the currency that I own. Y'all, I felt like a proud parent. And the reason why is because for once, instead of me trying to figure it all out on my own, I was smart enough to say, I need more education on this. I was smart enough to say, let me find out, because I'm not a 8-figure trader yet. I will be. But I was smart enough to jump in and say, I need to know more. I need to be educated by people who have no ulterior motive, who want me to win, and will let me do it on my own terms. And as I started for the first time, I put all of my crypto into an Excel spreadsheet. Let me tell y'all, mama proud over here. Mama, I'm feeling real grown because I had it in a few different exchanges and I didn't even realize how much I owned because I just keep buying it up. And I was looking at all the different things I owned and I was like, shit, I'm straight. I mean, you know, I ain't got to show up for nothing tomorrow and I'm good. And it's such a wonderful feeling. And it all came honestly from this education that we keep telling you guys about. It is so empowering to be able to say honestly that 10 years ago, I was told about Bitcoin, missed out on it. But 6 months ago, I found out about it again. And I have just killed the game. I have made up. Now, I didn't make up for Bitcoin, but I tell you what, in the next 5 years, I will.
Amen.
My portfolio will be just as tight as if I bought Bitcoin a few years ago. And it's such a piece of, it's such a peace of mind. So getting back to these banks, and them kids say, F them banks. F them banks, because they ain't got our best interest in heart. They don't. No. They don't. It's a hustle, y'all.
Yeah. And, you know, I think one of the biggest things is when it comes down to it all, it's about access. Like, you know, you need to really think about who you're going to for counsel, right? Don't go to your cousin who doesn't even know how to explain Bitcoin to you, asking them if it's a good idea. They don't even know if it's a good idea. Yeah. And so many times people want to tell you what's good for you. Honestly, you guys, we got a whole lot of 30, 40, and 50-year-olds walking around here that don't even know what's good for themselves. And they're trying to tell you what's good for you. Like, you know, let me tell you, I've had own family try to tell me that I'm crazy, tear me down. And now I'm just chilling with my baby. Like, what y'all doing today? Not because it comes from a place of pride or ego or anything like that, but it comes from the fact that I understood, why in the hell would I take your counsel if I don't want to switch your life with mine? I don't want to be going to show up at 3 jobs for one of my family members who try to tear me down bad when I really started to geek out over crypto. But you have 3 jobs and you're in your 40s. Are you kidding me? I'm not working 3 jobs for anybody because I am not 3 people. So when it comes to access and getting around mentorship, make sure that you're going to the access and to the mentorship that has the results that you want. Too often we're going to the people that have what we don't want, and sometimes at a higher level of not wanting it, trying to ask them if it's a good idea. Sis, they don't know if it's a good idea because they don't even know what's a good idea for themselves. Yeah. So that was really part of the reason why I said yes to this platform, is the fact that I understood. I wasn't around anybody having 7- and 8-figure conversations, not at the bank, because most of the employees had less money than some of the customers. Like, it's a system. I get it. But I wasn't around people having these kind of conversations. They were telling me it was foo-foo money. Well, let me get this straight. If it's foo-foo money, how do we have multimillionaires? There's got to be something that's real about it. So let me go find out on my own accord. And then so from December to June this year, for 100,000 more cryptocurrency millionaires to be brought about, I don't care about your 1,000-air opinion.
No. Let me tell you too, a good friend of mine sent me not a video, but she sent me a link yesterday of a young guy. I think he's like 20, he's young, maybe 28. And he just bought a $28 million home in California. He's a crypto multimillionaire. and he got started back in, I'll have to find the story and share with you guys, but he got started back in 2014. He was taking on little bitty jobs and asking him to pay him in crypto, y'all.
Yep.
It's going, because at that time, the most prominent cryptocurrency was Bitcoin. So he went out, and he's 28 years old now, and he bought cash, or probably crypto, $28 million home. I was on the Marilyn and I was chatting last night, and I was doing all these videos, and I probably sent her about 1 million videos, and I said, girl, I got my eye on this $2.6 million home. It's mine. I'm claiming it. And it's not because I need it, but the reality is I know I can go buy it. And there, you know, and I'll get on a very sensitive subject right now, but I was talking to a girlfriend of mine the other day who husband passed away from cancer. Maybe it hadn't even been 6 months, and left her as a, you know, a single mom. And she was telling me the other day that she could not get into their bank accounts because, you know, the bank got everything locked up, and she's having to go through attorneys and all this other stuff. And she was just like, you know, sis, I'm just mentioning this to you because I know your husband is not well. And, you know, she said, I know it's a subject people don't want to talk about. She said, but I want to make sure you're in a position to get your hands on money so that you don't end up in a spot like me. And I said, sis, I don't have my money in banks. we don't do that around here. We don't play that game no more. You know, we've had those conversations, and I think one of the best conversations, because, you know, let's be real, this is a tough conversation to have, but we're not going to live into infinity. We all going to pass along. I'd like to be able to pass my grandkids millions. You know, I'd like to be able to pass them a legacy. And I think my husband mentioned the other day when we were talking about our portfolio, and it was a very hard conversation, but he said, I'm so glad we got into this because I know that you're good. Powerful. You know, very sad, but also powerful. So I won't harp on that much because I'll get too emotional. But
Yeah.
you know, it's a very real thing that people who missed out on making money for maybe 15, 20 years, I tell people all the time, look at this as your retirement. Go ahead and leverage yourself, learn how to leverage yourself so that you, in 10 years, you can undo all the damage you've done for the last 40 years in cryptocurrency, if it even takes that long. So I say all that to say, you know, education for me has been, it's been very important, being able to go through this during a time where I'm dealing with my husband's illness, and knowing that, you know, we're both going to be okay, but financially, I don't ever have to worry about money again. It's priceless. And I really wish that for anybody that's watching, you know, it's peace of mind waking up and knowing I realized the other day when I go in the store, I don't even look at the receipts. It's not that I don't care, but it's that because I already have money to take care of it. So, you know, it's $60. I don't have to question it. You know, for some people, spending $60 here, there, and everywhere is a big deal, but it's not. And I really want that peace of mind, especially for the younger generation, you know, France's age, because you guys have a chance to change the world financially. So first step is education. Get back in touch with the person who put you here. Our education, I'm telling you, I have learned more in the last 6 to 7 months than I have probably learned in the last 10 or 15 years. So I really would love for you guys to be part of it, take part of it, get involved in it. Francis, this is your area, banking. I want to say it's a good thing for the average person. I joke about it when I say F these banks, but I think that it's going to bring more people to the table to have this conversation because it's a needed conversation. I think that we're going to see financially the world go into a recession, but the people who have decided to learn about cryptocurrency are not going to feel any of that pain. None of it whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. And the saddest truth is that we haven't even seen the worst of what's really going to happen with our economy. Places are going to experience inflation like, excuse me, ma'am, do you want to do this? Places are going to experience inflation like they've never seen it before. Like people really have not seen the worst of what's coming financially. And I don't say that to scare anybody, but it's really the truth. Because you got to think about it. Like a lot of things, it has to get worse before it gets better for them to figure out what they really want to do. I mean, look at gas prices. That's a clear indication of where we're going. And so, you know, when you think about people that are already feeling the difference of filling up a gas tank at $3.30 compared to $2.90, and that's already making a difference in their life, people are already not so well off financially, like 1 to 2 paychecks away from being homeless. And that's not a lie. Like 70% of most Americans don't have $1,000 on reserve, like in savings, in cash, nothing. So that means if your job doesn't pay you or unemployment doesn't pay you for a month and a half, you're not okay. And so I just tell people, like, make the sacrifice now to get educated and position yourself. And listen, if I gotta be honest, I'm not telling you what to do, but there are gonna be some things financially that you need to worry a little less about and put some more emphasis in other places. Your credit card ain't gonna save you when inflation is so high that they gotta file bankruptcy too. I'm just saying. I'm not telling you, giving you financial advice and saying don't pay your credit cards, mess up your credit. I'm not saying any of that. But if you see companies like Modell's who had a large credit account, and a lot of people had their department store card, and they filed bankruptcy overnight, and still it messed up someone's credit who had a great history of paying their card off, you need to be reevaluating where you're putting that $200 every month and go get yourself some real education that are going to yield you some real results. You can worry about that credit score later, because that's really an indication of how good you can borrow money. And until you can get good with money, you're going to continue to be a good borrower. So get good with money first, worry about fixing that later. Because sometimes we got to reevaluate where we're putting a lot of emphasis. A lot of times you want to keep, oh my God, I got to pay this credit card, I got to pay. I'm not telling you what to do financially. I'm just saying we have a more pressing issue at the forefront, which is we have not experienced the worst that's coming. So just wisen up, you guys. Get around people that really are trying to do different, and you can see the result. Because the truth is, you're spending $200 on a lot of stuff. Listen, for a country that's about to go into the worst financial place, and for a whole lot of people that I keep saying, they say they ain't got no money, y'all sure taking a whole lot of trips to Cabo and Puerto Rico and New York and Vegas. But then you coming back and you saying you ain't got no money. Well, sis, you shouldn't have been on that trip in the first place. If that was for a trip for fun, if you went for business, a little different of a conversation. But if you went for fun and you coming back talking about you ain't got no money, you already doing it in the wrong order. Don't go on that trip. Put that money into some real education that yields results, and then go take the trip when you got more than enough to take it and come back and still be okay. So I rest my case, but we have not seen the worst that's coming financially.
Marilyn, last thoughts.
Yeah. So I just want to back up and talk about YouTube. Anybody goes to YouTube, they give you information. Every video on there is basically an overview to what you can actually do. You can't learn it on one video. So even with Crypto and Coffee, we can produce videos for the next 5 years, still not be able to give you all the information you're gonna need about cryptocurrency. So everything is always a prelude to what you really need, because you can't get it. You would find 57-hour videos on YouTube if they did that. So get with the people who brought you here, get with one of us. I want to personally thank you all for coming out. I really, really love Crypto and Coffee. In my learning phase, I am still learning so much. Pam, Francis, love my beautiful sisters. We out here in these crypto streets making changes. Y'all, I have my beautiful sister here with me this weekend, and we had crypto talks last night. I got her some Ethereum, some Bitcoin, and some Litecoin, okay? Yeah, she got that sexy portfolio. Yeah, that was our talk last night over some drinks, you know. So yeah, and conversations change. It's no longer about what are you doing this weekend, you know, what color your nails. They're like, girl, what you got in your wallet? You know, show me how to do this. People coming to you and asking you, look, I see you doing some things. Show me what you're doing.
And that's real talk. I always say to people now, the best love and best advice I can give you financially, to set you up to be financially free. You know, I've been a coach on and off for 25 years, and there is no better feeling than seeing your clients achieve their goals. There has been no better feeling until now. when Marilyn, and just, knowing 6 months ago, this chick knew nothing about crypto. Now she's sitting here telling me, yeah, I got this in my portfolio. You got this. I'm like, no, where you get that from? I mean, it's just like, okay, well, now look, now I'm competitive. So I'm like, oh, she outstudying me. I got to learn a little bit
But
more.
sis, we all gonna eat. We all gonna eat, because if I found out about it, I'm bringing it to the table.
I mean it in a joking way that, the growth that I have seen in the last 6 months, we used to talk about making our money a whole nother way. And now it's just the calmness that comes with it. Is a calmness
Exactly.
that
Money.
comes with it. Knowing your portfolio. Like I said, when I set that thing up on Excel yesterday, it was the first time I looked at all of them, and I just had no clue. I had no clue that I have 20 different currencies in my portfolio. Had no idea, and got one more that I'm grabbing. And then they're constantly coming out, but now I'm at a stage where I'm going to research each one a little bit more. And my thought process now is, let me dive in and buy a little bit more of some of these, because now I see the direction they're going in. I'm doing more research on them, and I'm going, you know what? I don't have to be out here looking for the next best coin that's coming out. I mean, if it come my way, then I'm grabbing it. But I'm learning now that the ones I got have set us up for the rest of our lives. So it's a powerful conversation. I'm so thankful for my sisters. I'm thankful for you guys who come every day and watch us, whether it's here on Zoom, on Facebook, or on YouTube. We love talking about it. It keeps us on our toes and on our A game. And most importantly, I feel like we're empowering the masses. We're still new in the crypto space, but we will be here for a very long time. So thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you again Monday. Sunday is a holiday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so are we doing Monday, ladies?
You know what? The beautiful thing about this is, I mean, we don't have to. It's up to you.
Okay, well, at this point, we'll see y'all Monday. If it changes,
Okay.
if y'all don't see us on here, that means that we decided not to, because we don't have a job and we out chilling somewhere.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. We appreciate and love you all. Thank you so much, everyone. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Take care.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.